Good morning and welcome to Saturday morning's meditation here at Kondzang Peo Choling, and hello to those online. Before we begin our meditation today, let's take a moment to remember our motivation for being here, whatever it took for us to get here today. What is the reason that we're here to practice meditation? So before we begin any activity, any Dharma activity, whether it's meditation or we're reading a Dharma book or listening to a Dharma talk or teaching, we really want to establish our compassionate intention to free all beings from suffering, that whatever benefit we create, we dedicate to all sentient beings to the end of suffering. So let's just take a moment to generate that intention before we do our opening prayers. We'll do that now. All right. So I'm going to put the opening prayers up on the screen. We'll do the 7-line prayer. We'll do it 3 times together. All right. You guys know it? Organ yugi nucham sam pemage sardompola yasan chogi no drumne pemajane shesudra Korukandro Mambokor Keki Jesu Dag Drupki Jinjilok Shir Sheksu So Guru Pema Siddhihum Organ Yogi Nucham Sam Pemage Sardom Bula Yasun Chogi No Drumne Pemajune Shesudra Korukandro Mampokor Keki Jesu Dag Drupki Jinjilok Shir Sheksu Sol Guru Pema Siddhihum Organ Yogi Nucham Sam Pemage Sardom Bola Yasun Chogi No Drumne Pemajane Shesudra Korukandro Mampokor Keki Jesu Dag Drupki Jinjilok Shir Sheksu Sol Guru Pema Siddhihum. All right, so the meditation that we'll be doing today and that we do all weekends is called Shamatha meditation. And it's as taught by Jetsama in her book, Stabilizing the Mind. So before we begin to talk about, how we hold our posture and our mind and attention, we want to talk about what is the point of meditation? What is the essence of what it is and what does it mean to meditate? So meditation is the natural state of our mind when it's relaxed, when it's stable and open. So it trains our minds to become calm and relaxed, but also alert and wakeful. And the whole point, the whole reason we do meditation is so that we can create more spaciousness in our mind. And we think of all the ways, all the things that are competing in our life to fill that space in our mind. All the distractions, all the busyness, all the, million things we have to do on our to-do list. There's so many things competing for that space in our mind. And it's sometimes hard to come by having a moment where we can truly rest the mind. And we think of all the other things we do for our health. Maybe we take vitamins or some sort of medication. Maybe we work out. We, keep our body physically fit. Um, but what are we doing for our mind? And meditation is really what can come into play in that space, because it really helps us balance our emotions. It helps us with our reactions. So it kind of creates you know, a buffer or a space between our actions and reactions. And it creates that stability of mind that then produces that spaciousness in our mind, so that whatever we, you know, come across in our life, or whatever comes at us, or whatever things happen throughout our day, we can greet that thing or that experience or that conversation with spaciousness in our mind. So it affects everything in our life. So it's also extremely important on the path of Dharma, because it's the first step to developing bodhicitta, which is the compassionate wish to free all beings from suffering. So we're going to take a comfortable seat, whether you are on a chair or whether you're on the floor. If you're on a chair, it might be easier to put your hands on your thighs. If we're seated, we can do the traditional posture of the right hand over the left, with our thumbs touching and just gently in our laps. Our shoulders are going to be back, our elbows back, so we're not, hunched over. This is really a time we can practice our, correct posture and our straight spine. So we want to have that straight spine, because that supports the alertness of our mind. So almost like a string pulling us from the crown of our head to the ceiling, but not rigid, just relaxed in that space as well. And we're just going to gently breathe, just totally naturally breathing. We're not counting our breath. It's not stifled in any way. And we're going to gaze down at the floor. We're not intently gazing at the floor. We're not like, there's the floor, we're staring at it. We're actually really just picking a spot, almost like if we draw a line down the bridge of our nose and extend it out to the floor. We're picking a point on that line to rest our gaze. So we're kind of resting it in space, but we're gazing towards the floor. And we're breathing naturally again. And just the tip of the tongue will rest on the back of the front teeth, so that the mouth is just slightly open. And again, we're breathing naturally. If we find that our minds feel very sleepy today, we can raise our gaze a little bit to let more light into the eye, and that will actually help us be more wakeful. If we're finding our mind is very busy today or racing, we can lower our gaze even more to let less light in, and to help us kind of combat those distractions. So we're just going to allow ourselves to breathe naturally. And the point of our focus is on the breath. So if we're picking up a thing for our mind to rest on, it is on the breath. And of course, other thoughts are going to kind of try to come in and compete with that. We're just going to let those thoughts go. So if any thoughts arise, just let them go. The thoughts are rising almost like a bubble rising to the surface of the pond. We're just letting the thought go. So our meditation really isn't lost by having thoughts. It's not about having, this perfect meditation with no thoughts that arise. It's really just how we choose to respond to that thought. So if we let it go, then it just goes. But if we run down the road with it and we inspect that thought and we judge that thought, oh, I'm having so many thoughts, then so many more thoughts come. So we just want to cut the thought, cut it out, throw it out. If we want to actually use that visual aid of cutting it or tossing it away, that's helpful too. That works for you. So again, we're just focusing on the breath. Your attention is like a feather gently riding the surface of your breath. Okay, so with that, we're going to start. We'll do a few sessions. We're going to start with a shorter session, a little 5 minutes to begin. Get my timer here. All right. Here we go. All right. So we'll do another longer session together. You might find, when you're sitting, it might be internal distractions that come up. Maybe thoughts arise or keep arising. It could also be environmental. It could be outside of you. So you're hearing certain things or smelling something, or maybe the temperature in the room. So whatever that is, also body sensations, maybe there's tightness in your shoulders, or you have something that's bothering you. Still, even with that, we just try to, for this time, let it go and return again to the breath, So today we're focusing on the breath as the point. The single pointed attention is on the breath. But on our own time, we can also focus on something like a candle or a flower or a statue. So it doesn't always have to be on the breath, but the great thing about the breath is it's always with you. So you can always practice with the breath throughout your day. So let's do a little longer together. All right. Starting now. Okay, so we'll do one more session. If you're new to meditation, really starting where you're at is so important. So if, really trying to create spaciousness in our mind by starting with 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and slowly building your meditation practice. Um, we're not trying to be these heroes jumping into the deep end when we're just starting. It's not going to be, um, you might not find much stability in your mind if you start your meditation practice by trying to do an hour of meditation. That might be a very distracted hour. So we just try to build that spaciousness through time and consistency. Again, we're not trying to be perfect. Some days we might be very busy in our mind. Some days we might feel a lot clearer. The point is to show up again and be consistent and have this really be kind of the habit of our mind, is that spacious state. So we can infuse meditation throughout our everyday lives, even as we're going about our day. It doesn't always have to look so formal like this, sitting on a cushion. We can have a moment of meditation while we're walking somewhere, just checking in with our breath and clearing all of our thoughts. So kind of a walking meditation, or as we transition through different things throughout our day, taking a minute before we go do that thing or get out of our car or go do this or that, just taking a minute to um, having some stability of the mind before doing that, just having a minute of meditation. So let's do one more shorter session together, and then we'll finish with closing prayers afterwards. Let's see what time it is. Okay. All right. Again, keeping that straight spine, our shoulders back, our elbows back, and hands in the lap, right over left. Straight spine, breathing naturally, gazing down towards the floor, picking a line, of that line that we're drawing down to the floor, picking a point on that line to rest our gaze, and then our mouth slightly open with the back of our tongue touching the back of our teeth, so that our mouth is slightly open, breathing naturally, and all of the attention of our mind is resting on the breath, a gossamer thin attention on the breath, like a feather gently riding the surface of your breath. So when thoughts come up, we drop them, we let them go, return again and again and again to the breath. So let's try for this last time together. All right. Here we go. All right. Okay, so we will finish our meditation by, really dedicating the virtue of our practice, the merit of our practice, and sealing in that blessing by dedicating it for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that will be the back side of your paper. I'll put it online here. Okay. Throughout my many lives and until this moment, whatever virtue I've accomplished, including the merit generated by this practice, and all that I'll ever attain, this I offer for the welfare of sentient beings. May sickness, war, famine, and suffering be decreased for every being, while their wisdom and compassion increase in this and every future life. May I clearly perceive all experiences to be as insubstantial as the dream fabric of the night, and instantly awaken to perceive the pure wisdom display in the arising of every phenomenon. May I quickly attain enlightenment in order to work ceaselessly for the liberation of all sentient beings. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas altogether, whatever kind of motivation you have, whatever kind of beneficial action, whatever kind of wishing prayers, whatever kind of omniscience, whatever kind of life accomplishment, whatever kind of benevolent power, and whatever kind of immense wisdom you have, similarly I, who have come in the same way to benefit beings, pray to attain these qualities. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their minds be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished, and the only light of compassion shine throughout all realms. So thank you so much for joining. Yeah. And again, we'll be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and also streaming online as well. And if you're looking for more meditation resources throughout your week, we do have on our YouTube channel a meditation playlist. So please check that out. Lots of instruction on meditation, different types of meditation, and teachings on meditation. So thank you all so much. And ending the stream.